I drew this for Christmas last year, but we're going to go over it in a different way. I'm going to put some lore to the speed paint, and you guys tell me what you think in the comments. I created her to basically be an older version that would be able to fight the fight with Astralis, but before Nazarel. I wanted there to be other wars that took place before that. So here we go. This week we'll be talking about Avrora. Avrora Garcia came from the frigid south of Varosia in Ringstead, before the Southern Cross. Only those who are the strongest live there, but it's a tiny village at the bottom of the world, in the list of monoliths. She's born before the break of Astralis. Inferni Maggie at birth, she had no idea how or what her birth symbol meant, and no one else did either. And so her parents brought her to the capital, Vahula. Finding out that she was able to communicate with demons and slip into Aramis undetected, they decided that it was probably best to hide that from her. And if you're familiar with Avatar, for every one monolith, the next element in the series is picked, and that's kind of just how it works. But there's no books, no instructions, no masters to learn from. They returned home, and Avrora focused on the innate closest. Era, wind shifting, technically. Being the only Aramagi in the village of 20 individuals, when the blizzards are bad and hunting was still a possibility, living in 7 months of darkness a year makes life pretty hard, but it's simple living, until a chill had took her parents and her aunt, leaving Avrora living alone. The small village had taken to being her family, technically, but directly, a gray-skinned elf named Yearling had been the one that stepped up. They had a rough father-daughter relationship, but she learned to fend for herself thanks to him. Luckily, he was able to teach her all the shifting she'd ever needed to know for now. Now, as monoliths live, around the age that they start showing the features, it's usually like about 12 or so, they get blue lines all over their body, antlers, white hair mixed with their natural color, and it was kind of like an eyesore in Ringstead because no one liked it and everyone thought it was weird and she might have some magic sickness. Now, magic in my world isn't called magic, it's called shifting. But magic is still called magic when it's unique, right? Now, thankfully, she would receive her answer on what or who she was by the arrival of Quan, the monolith, from Addix before her. That explained that she would be inheriting his powers, and when she did fully, he would be passing on to the Pulse, and it would be her turn to seek out ways to aid the world and help it along if she could by learning all the shifting there is to know. And to give her a taste of it, Quan showed her how to find Aramis, how to activate her demon speaking skill. He warned her that the Order would come after her if he died, and staying at the bottom of the world was not going to hide her anymore. Avrora, 12 then, scoffed at leaving this place, and when he left, she decided that being at home was where she would want to spend all her 300 years that she'd been given. A heavy load for like a preteen, you know? And for the most part, she was right. Varosia is so cold, so unforgiving, that people would only visit during the summer months. You know, the months that actually have sunshine. Avrora experimented with her powers, but with significant struggles, and traveling to the capital, Vahula, made sure that there was unfortunate eyes on her. Those eyes turned to words, and those words traveled to Astralis. The Khan of Varosia heard wind of her status, called her forth to the Winter Palace, and the summons came during the 5th month of darkness. Erling advised against going, but he still helped her pack anyway. The Khan's interest never brings warmth, he warned, but they both knew ignoring a royal summons would bring the worst consequences. They didn't need people from the capital coming to Ringstead. And she preferred living like a hermit at the bottom of the world anyway. But now she had a summons. The Khan was not what she had expected. Where stories had painted him as a bear of a man draped in fur, she found a slight figure seated on a throne of blue ice wearing robes so thin they may have seemed to mock the cold. And the reason she'd been summoned was because the Khan was losing the strait between Astralis and Varosia. He needed a weapon. Blah, blah, blah. Service the court maids or be branded as a traitor. Real original stuff. Avrora might have loved her home, but she wasn't some military mage. She was a warrior, a survivor, and living in the palace was a joke. Yet, when they had said they called upon demons and bound them to elves for leverage, she stopped for a second. But then she realized that something was actually off about this place. Avrora had spent enough time tracking prey to recognize when she was being herded into a trap. Something was off, either the silence, the people, something was wrong. And before she could figure anything out, the alarm bells began to ring. The Order had been attacking. probably because of her or some other reason, but she was there and it was unfortunate. The whole throne room erupted into chaos, guards rushing about. Avrora felt the familiar pull of demon energy from beyond the walls, mixed with the wind's warning of approaching danger, and she didn't listen because she was being stubborn. The capital might not be like her familiar hunting ground, but she survived 23 winters in the harshest environment. These city dwellers had no idea what real survival looked like, and she had to help them. She had to survive. And survival, as Yearling had taught her, sometimes meant helping people who couldn't help themselves, even if they lived in ridiculous ice palaces and wore impractical silk robes. I hope you guys really liked this little picture of Avrora. I had been working on it for an entire day when I drew it originally, and it was my first time drawing her in her own environment. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if this is something that you enjoyed listening to, please like and subscribe my channel. I put out a video once a week and shorts multiple times a week. And if you have any questions about Varosia or any of the characters mentioned here, please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, or just tell me what you think of the video. See you later.